video, I want to talk about how to translate the graph of a logarithmic function. So I think in ALEKS, when you do these problems, it's actually going to give you the original logarithmic function first, and then it's going to ask you to just translate it. But I'm going to go ahead and do both steps, that is graph the first thing and then translate it. So we'll just do both of those in this video, and that'll be a little bit of extra practice. So to graph so this function, it's log base 3 of x minus 2 minus 3. Okay, so the minus 2 and the minus 3 are translations, but the basic function is, we'll say it's g of x is equal to just log base 3 of x. So that's what we want to think about initially. Now we know that log base 3 of x is going to have a vertical asymptote, right, at 0. We've been over that in other videos. So it's going to have a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. And then, so log base 3 of x, let's think about this. This is going to be the opposite of 3 to the x power. So 3 to the x power, let's actually make a little t-chart over here. So 3 to the x power, if this was h of x, 3 to the x power, we would have x, y, 0 input would be 1 output, 1 would be 3, 2 would be 9, and then after that it's going to go off of our graph. But if now the log base 3 of x is the inverse function of this, so if we switch x and y, we have points for the logarithmic graph. So it should be 1, 0, 1, 3, 1, and 2, 9. So let's go ahead and plot those points. So 1, 0, 3, 1, and sorry, this should say 9, 2. Whoops. Okay, this should say 9, 2, because we're switching x and y. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2. Okay, so it's going to go down toward the asymptote here, and then it's going to go up like that. A little bit smoother than mine. Mine looks a little rough. It should look a little bit smoother than that, but in any case, it should look like that. Okay, so now, here, let me try to just make it a little bit better. There, that looks better. Okay, so now we want to figure out how to graph this function. So when we have a minus 3 at the end, that's an up and down thing, right? So a minus 3 would be down 3. So this is going to make it go down 3. And then if we have a minus 2 on the inside, this is going to be a left-right thing. But remember that any left-right things always do the opposite of what we would think they would do. So this is going to be, instead of to the left 2, it's going to be to the right 2. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take each point, and each point that's on my graph, and I'm going to move it to the right 2 and down 3. I'm also going to do the same thing with my asymptote. So when I move my asymptote to the right 2, and down 3. Down doesn't change the asymptote because it's infinite. But it is going to move to the right 2. So my new asymptote is going to be like this. Okay, so there's my asymptote. And so that's to the right 2. Now I'm going to take each point and move it to the right 2 and down 3. To the right 2 and down 3. To the right 2 and down 3. Oops, over there. Okay. So my new graph should look something like this. And that is how you translate the graph of a logarithmic function.